At the end of the 15th century, a Portuguese sailor dared to dream the impossible. Ferdinand Magellan believed he could reach the Spice Islands by sailing west, but King Manuel laughed and said, "The world isn't that small." Magellan answered, "Then I'll make it smaller." Banished from his homeland, he set out to prove what no one had ever done, to sail around the entire world. In 1518, Magellan found refuge in Spain. Young King Charles listened to his plan to reach the Indies by a western route. He gave him 5 ships, 270 men, and the blessing of God. The outcasts had become the hope of an empire. Trinidad, San Antonio, Concepcion, Victoria, and Santiago. Each ship carried compasses, astrolabes, sand glasses, and portolan maps, the most advanced navigation tools of the time. For the first time in history, a fleet set sail equipped for a truly global voyage. Magellan whispered, "The stars will guide my path. God will decide my fate." On September 20th, 1519, the ships left Seville. But on board, mistrust filled the air more than wind filled the sails. The crew was Spanish, the captain, Portuguese. Magellan refused to share his route. The compass pointed north, but no one trusted where it led. And so began the most dangerous voyage in human history. Their first stop, the Canary Islands. There, Magellan discovered Portuguese spies following him. King Manuel had ordered his assassination. The maps were hidden, the plans sealed. "From now on," Magellan said, "I fight not only the sea, but my own past." Weeks passed. The fleet lost its way. Clouds covered the stars. The astrolabe was useless. Magellan measured distance with sand glasses and the chip log, a rope with knots dropped into the sea. These were the first scientific records of navigation speed. When the wind died, only the voice of faith remained. In November 1519, they saw tropical lands, the coast of Brazil. Friendly natives, colorful birds, unknown fruits. But Magellan looked to the sky, not the land. The North Star had vanished. He used the Southern Cross instead, the first systematic navigation by southern constellations. Winter approached. Cold, hunger, and endless wind punished the fleet. Some sailors spoke of giant men. The myth of Patagonia was born. But Magellan studied the wind patterns. He noted how currents reversed direction, an early record of the South Pacific system. They were trapped for months. Hunger and despair grew stronger than faith. 3 captains rebelled. "No Portuguese commands us." That night, Magellan struck back. At dawn, silence, only obedience and fear. He had won not just the fleet, but a legend. During exploration, the ship Santiago hit the rocks. The depth had been miscalculated. From this tragedy, Magellan standardized depth measurements, the birth of calibrated navigation. In October 1520, after months of searching, the passage was found. A freezing, stormy corridor between 2 oceans. Using the astrolabe, Magellan confirmed what no one had proved. The Atlantic and the Pacific were separate seas. One ship turned back to Spain. The rest continued toward the unknown. They measured the salinity of the water, the first recorded hydrographic observation in history. November 1520. The new ocean looked calm, so Magellan named it Pacifico. But the peace was an illusion. For 98 days they saw no land. Hunger, thirst, and death sailed with them. They ate rats, sawdust, and leather belts. Their gums bled, their wounds wouldn't heal. Today we know it was scurvy, caused by lack of vitamin C. Humanity had just discovered the link between food and disease. March 1521, land at last. But locals stole food and supplies. Magellan was furious, yet he made an experiment. He tested ship speed against the wind, the first measured test of oceanic velocity. Magellan measured the sun's height with a cross staff, avoiding direct sunlight. That simple method became the foundation of safer celestial navigation. For Magellan, this journey had turned from exploration to faith. Hundreds of islanders converted to Christianity. But more than religion, Magellan discovered humanity. These were the first cultural observations of the Pacific peoples, the birth of early anthropology. Lapu-Lapu, a local chieftain, refused to convert. Magellan tried to force him by arms. Wearing heavy armor, he sank into the mud, and a spear ended his life. The explorer became the martyr of his own belief. April 27th, 1521. Magellan fell at Mactan. The sea fell silent. His men were lost, without their captain, without direction. But his notebook still whispered the way forward. Juan Sebastián Elcano took command. Once a mutineer, now a leader. He followed Magellan's logs, derroteros, the first detailed navigation records ever made. They would guide him home, November 1521. The fleet reached the Moluccas, cinnamon, cloves, and triumph. But Elcano noticed something strange. The sun rose in a different place than the maps showed. It was the first clue that the Earth was rotating. Only one ship remained, the Victoria. 2 compasses, 4 hourglasses, 1 astrolabe, 3 maps, and exhausted men. That ship would become the first to circle the planet. Winds reversed, masts broke, food vanished. Elcano recorded wind directions meticulously, the foundation of what we now call trade wind maps. Elcano wrote, "The sea has taught us the secret of longitude. He who sails west loses a day." It was the first written description of the international dateline phenomenon. September 6th, 1522. The bells of Seville rang. Out of 270 men, only 18 survived. But humanity had completed its first journey around the Earth. The world was no longer infinite, just undiscovered. Elcano knelt before King Charles, but in truth, the world itself bowed before him. The king gave him a coat of arms inscribed, "Primus circumdedisti me." You were the first to circle me. When they returned, a day was missing. It was the first proof that Earth truly rotated. Humanity began to measure time, globally. The voyage changed everything. The stars, winds, and oceans were now part of a single world. Science and navigation had merged, and a new age had begun. Magellan's vision, Elcano's courage. One dreamed, the other achieved. Together they proved that faith and science could sail the same sea. This was more than a voyage. It was humanity's first experiment with its own limits. The world's roundness was proven, navigation standardized, geography became science. The sea fell silent, but curiosity never did. Because to discover the world is to discover ourselves.
Subscribe for more forgotten battles.